It is mid-April, and April 15th in the United States is tax day. So today's episode is inspired by something I said to my tax guy, which is, I don't even know how I made that money. It wasn't a lot. It was less than $300. In actuality, I know where it came from, but I really don't know how I made it. In this episode, we are going to explore the pros and cons of network marketing for people with Hashimoto's. I'm going to talk about how MLMs can be really good at education, and they can deliver real health wins for some, yet they often fail in other categories. Welcome to the Health with Hashimoto's podcast. This is where you will find clarity and simple, sustainable strategies to feel better. I want to help you figure out your root causes. My name is Esther. I am a registered nurse. I know how exhausting it is to live with fatigue, brain fog, and the ups and downs of Hashimoto's. And that is why I'm here. I'm here to cut through the confusion and to give you practical steps that support your body, calm your immune system, so that you can regain your energy and feel like yourself again. People have very strong opinions about today's topic. I don't know how your opinions are. If you ever want to get some good or bad conversation going in a Facebook group, just mention network marketing or MLMs. People are very divided. There are some people who love them, some people who despise them, all of that. So let's define our terms first. Network marketing, MLM or multi-level marketing, and pyramid schemes, they are often used interchangeably, those different categories or those different titles. In general, one of these companies is a company that offers a product or a service and a business. It's more like a franchisee where you don't have control. You don't have control of the sales, of the prices, of the products, anything like that. You are just doing the job of talking to people and educating them. So that is network marketing. People get paid on commission. They get paid based on products sold or services offered, or the business side, which is telling your friends and family and network about the actual business and having them join, and then you get a small commission off of what they do. This leads to the negative term pyramid scheme. Now, I don't know about you, but if you've ever looked at a business scheme, a business layout, there's always one person at the top as triangle. There's a lot of people at the bottom. That's how businesses are laid out. That's how families are laid out. That's how a lot of stuff works. I find nothing wrong with the actual shape of a network marketing company. It's just, it is what it is. The thing is, in network marketing, it is the one place where you can rise above the person who enrolled you. For example, in the company that I am currently a part of, I believe that my checks are bigger than 3 different people directly above me because I have done more work. And this really depends on the compensation plan for each company. But I really appreciate that in most network marketing companies, you really do control what you make. You can't just join and say, I'm going to make $1 million and make $1 million. It's based on a lot of things. And here is a huge caveat. It's not easy. Not easy. There's a lot of people who basically promise that it's going to be easy, and it is not. I joined my first company back in the early 2000s. My husband and I had seen the research, we had seen lives change, and so we joined, and the goal was to make a full-time income for at least one of us. We worked really hard. We did what our upline and what the company said. We were never gross and spammy about it. But I will tell you that we never made even close to a full-time income. In fact, we never made what we spent in a month. We never broke even. And that was the first goal. So number one question, are network marketing companies worth it if you have a condition like Hashimoto's? And I would still say yes. And here is why. Nothing, no product is going to, quote, cure Hashimoto's. None. Hashimoto's is an autoimmune condition where your body, your immune system, is attacking your thyroid. Now, there are multiple reasons why it might be attacking your thyroid. Maybe there's toxins in your thyroid and your body is trying to get those out. But we know that there are root causes. If you have gone through Hashimoto's Decoded, the Root Causes Revealed mini course, it's less than an hour. In that time, you're going to figure out what your likely root causes are. If you've gone through that course and you know your root causes, then you know what areas of products that you're looking for, because there are areas to support your root causes. So for example, Maybe you went through that and you haven't done the lab testing yet, but you know based on where you live and how much you're outside, you know that your vitamin D is probably low. So, of course, you're going to number one, get your labs checked for that one. And then you're going to look for a vitamin D supplement because research has shown us that most people cannot get enough vitamin D from the sun and from their food. They need a supplement. And that obviously depends on what kind of, fish you eat and where you live, how much time you're outside, when you're outside, what season it is, a lot of variables. But back 20 years ago, people didn't really know about vitamin D. Speaking as a nurse, when I got out of college, I knew about vitamin D. I had been taught about it. I didn't know as much as I do now. I didn't know that it's responsible for so many different functions of the immune system. And it's important for so many different things. I had no idea. I didn't know how much people needed every day. I just knew that, vitamin D is in fortified milk because that's what it says when I look at my bottle of milk, and we should be able to get everything from our food because that's what they taught me in nursing school. Well, because of network marketing, because of the really good education they provide, I learned more about vitamin D and I learned how beneficial it is, and I started taking vitamin D as a supplement. Now, fast forward 20 years, and it seems like everybody's talking about vitamin D. The education has caught up. Most people know the importance of vitamin D, and now it's not reliant on the network marketing companies. Supply and demand. The network marketing companies educated people who educated other people, and now there's more demand, and in response to that demand for good quality vitamin D supplements, more companies, not necessarily network marketing companies, more companies are making good vitamin D supplements. That's how this works. We've seen it happen in other things too. I've seen it happen with essential oils. Back 15, 20 years, there were really only two different sources of essential oils, and those were the two network marketing companies. Well, those people educated the masses, and now there's enough education and people demanding good quality essential oils, and now there's a lot of companies that are not network marketing that provide essential oils. So network marketing companies do one thing really well, and that is research and education. They kind of go together because the education is based on the research. Now, I'm talking about good network marketing companies. There are scams. There are companies who are more focused on hype and media and how well they can advertise through people. And there are other companies that focus a lot on research and development and education. Those are the ones that I gravitate towards because I'm not a hype person. I will not tell you something because of hype and because of media and because of ads. I'll talk to you about things because of research and science and because things work. Like I said earlier, there is no cure for Hashimoto's. You get to identify your own root causes, what is unique to you, and then you get to address those root causes. And then upstream, downstream, if you listen to episode 189, I talked a lot about this. What you do for those root causes is going to have a downstream effect because you are cleaning something up, just like cleaning up a river. And then everything downstream is going to be cleaner. It's going to work better because of what you did upstream. So when anywhere in this episode or anytime you hear somebody talking about how, a product is going to help something, think upstream, downstream. So let's review a couple of the root causes and see how this applies. Because again, we're not talking about curing or preventing any disease like Hashimoto's. We're talking about addressing the root causes. One of the big ones is gut health. And there are a lot of network marketing companies who focus on health, specifically gut health. Plexus comes to mind. I used to see a lot of people in my social media talking about Plexus because it had a really good gut drink. I think they called it the pink drink. Now, what they didn't know is that recipe was leased. And so a lot of people had really good downstream effects for a long time until the product changed. And this is one problem with trusting a company just wholeheartedly, falling in love with a company, is that when the product changes, you don't have control of that. And Plexus did not reveal, at least to everybody, that their recipe was changing. And so then some people are like, well, my gut health, it's going back to how it used to be. And they were upset. I know this because one person who is fairly high up in Plexus was talking to me about it during this time. And she was trying to figure out what was going on. And she's the one who told me that they actually leased their recipe. They lost the lease or it expired, and they were trying to figure out a new recipe for gut health. So there are a bunch of different companies who focus on gut health. I believe that Plexus now has another gut health drink that also works well, but I don't know that for sure. I personally use the LifeVantage P84. P84, or the Healthy Edge Stack, that came from a company that LifeVantage acquired because of this gut health product. P84 activates your gut. So it activates, tells your body to do what your body is supposed to do so that your gut makes the right peptides again. And that is so powerful. I think there's at least 13 different peptides that they've studied that when you drink this P84, that your gut does what it's supposed to do as far as these 13 different peptides. One of them is GLP-2, which is super interesting. But there are a lot of companies, network marketing companies, they put research and development money into figuring out root causes, like how to solve problems. So another root cause is environmental toxins. They're all around us. We all have our stories. We all know that there's so many different toxins all around us. Well, there is one company that has come across my feed quite a bit lately. Maybe you have seen it too. It's called Pure Haven, and their goal is toxin-free cleaning products. Now, here's another thing about network marketing industry. Like I said earlier, when people tie their identity or their loyalty to one product, sometimes they have something good, but then as years go on, there are other things that are better on the market. But these people who have tied their, tied their cart to one horse. Anyway, they don't know about the new things. My mom joined a network marketing company when I was in junior high or maybe high school. And they claimed to have really good cleaning products and good clean cleaning products. Well, maybe they were at the time. I know they worked well, but they are absolutely not clean. Are they greenwashed? Yes, absolutely. But are they clean? No, they are not. And so people who trusted that company and who still trust that company, they might not know that there are better products. And that's just something to be aware of if you decide to join a network marketing company, is just be aware of developments outside of your company. So when it comes to root causes and triggers, we can look to a lot of the network marketing companies for solutions to that. I mean, another one is stress. Stress is a huge trigger for autoimmune problems. And essential oils is a really good example of lowering stress. There are different aromas that you can use for aromatherapy that will lower your stress response. And there's also ones that can help you sleep better. There are different things you can use to support your different root causes and triggers. Blood sugar issues is another one. There are companies that have products to help you stabilize and balance your blood sugar. And these are not medications. These are things like herbs. If you have gone through my GLP-1 webinar, it was a 3-part series that I did on the podcast, I think back in the early hundreds of my episodes, but I turned it into a webinar so that it's got slides and everything. And I'll put the link down in the show notes. But there are companies that specialize in helping balance blood sugar issues. And I did talk about, not the companies, but I talked about some of the products, like the ingredients, like inulin, which is a fiber. I talked about that in the webinar. So you can check the link down below if you're interested. So in general, network marketing companies do a really good job of education. In fact, sometimes they educate so well that the demand increases, and then there are non-network marketing companies to supply the supply, which I actually love. It makes everybody better, in my opinion. Let me share my story. When I was in junior high or early high school, my mom joined a network marketing company. I didn't know it was network marketing. I just knew that she had new lotions and potions and cleaning stuff. The problem was the education was ill-informed. I do not know if this came from the top, from the company itself, or if it filtered through a bunch of people and we were given bad information. This was in the mid-90s, early 90s, and we didn't have the internet. We didn't have distribution, and my mom was not like an active consultant or anything. So she was just hearing from the people who told her about the products, this is what you can use them for. Well, one of the products, or a couple of the products, had essential oils in them, which they didn't use that term. I didn't learn that term for maybe a decade or two. And we were taught to use them wrongly. I have a physical effect from that usage. I developed a sensitivity. It's not an allergy, it's a sensitivity. And to this day, if I have any exposure to that specific essential oil, I break out in weeping hives. It's gross. And unfortunately, this essential oil, it's tea tree oil, is in everything. So even though I'm really careful to read labels and everything, every once in a while it sneaks in. I remember a couple years ago, I had a new shampoo. I didn't think it had tea tree oil in it. And all of a sudden my scalp started itching and weeping, which is, really gross. And that is a result of the bad education that my mom received and I received back when I was in junior high or high school. I'm 46. That's a really long time to have a consequence for bad education. And that is one of the downsides of network marketing. It is built on trust. The system is built on trust. So with the internet now, thankfully, we can double check things and you can get information even from network marketing companies. Usually you can get education from like the scientists and the research and development team. But because of that experience, I am very leery of by mouth education. Probably that is one of the things that really caused me to always want the research, always want to know exactly what's happening and why, and know from the source. Maybe that is why I'm so skeptical of just media and hype, because that caused a decades-long problem for me. Well, let's fast forward. I went to college, became a nurse, had one semester of nutrition in that. And as like one little segment of that nutrition course, I had to do a food log, and I learned or was taught that you can get all of the nutrients that you need from your food. So I graduated, went on to my second job, which was up in Alaska, met my husband, and he was telling me about this company and multivitamins. And I was like, you don't need a multivitamin. You can get everything you need from food. So he said, I have this CD from a doctor. Would you be willing to listen? At the time, I didn't want to tell him directly, but I'm like, you're kind of a sucker. You don't need this. Why are you getting sucked into this? But I decided to listen because, of course, my boyfriend was telling me to, and I wanted to make him happy. So I listened and I'm like, oh, actually, this is really good research. This is really good to know. Our foods are not the same as they were 100 years ago. Like vitamin C content in an orange is not the same as it was 100, 200 years ago. Like our food itself has changed. The mineral content of our food has changed. And there's more pesticides and GMOs and stuff in our food. While that's been happening, our stressors have been going up. And as you have more stressors, your requirement for more nutrients also goes up. So our foods have gone down in what we need and our needs have gone up. And you put those two things together and we're not getting what we need from our food. So I learned all of this from several different doctors, not from my boyfriend, now husband, but I learned from the doctors at that company. I was like, okay, I'm willing to try. We tried. We got married. Like I said, we lived in Alaska, came down to Minnesota to get married in the fall. I have lifelong environmental allergies. They were so bad in the fall. I knew they would be bad because I grew up in Minnesota and I was taking a prescription allergy medicine and an over-the-counter allergy medicine. And I still could hardly breathe during my wedding. And I remember I had to get up in the middle of like our wedding night. I ended up sitting in a chair in the hotel room because I couldn't breathe if I was laying down. My allergies were so bad. Fast forward 1 year later, I had been on these multi-nutrients for 1 year. We went back to Minnesota, same season to visit, fall, and I was taking only one over-the-counter allergy medicine, and I realized I can breathe. What is up with this? And then I started figuring out, oh, there's a lot of other things that are different too, because my cells had the ingredients that they needed. This wasn't the product changing my allergies. This was the product giving my cells the ingredients that they needed, and then my cells and my health responded. This was a downstream effect. Well, fast forward, this company was fantastic for the next 5-10 years. And then they started to kind of rest on their laurels, and other companies started doing better in specific categories that I had joined this company for. So I moved. I moved companies, which is why I am now at LifeVantage, because I am not going to tie myself and the products that I recommend. I'm not going to tie that to a company who is not on the cutting edge. And that is why I recommend currently the LifeVantage products, because they tell your body to do what your body is designed to do. And LifeVantage is a network marketing company. I wasn't necessarily looking for network marketing. I was looking for products that I could trust, a company that I could trust and recommend. And yes, I wanted a commission, and that is part of network marketing. So I'm already at 20 minutes. Let me quickly sum up. When I talked to my tax guy and I said, I don't know how I made this, it was true. That was from the initial network marketing company that my husband and I joined in the early 2000s. I've not looked in that back office for years, maybe a decade. I do not know how I'm making even that teeny tiny bit of money. I do know what I'm making for LifeVantage because that's what I'm currently promoting. But if you are interested in network marketing, now I am not a tax guru, but I'm going to tell you what I have learned over the years. Number one, the IRS controls what you can and cannot write off. Not your company, not your tax guy, not you. IRS. They have strict guidelines and they don't believe that you can use personal consumable products for a tax write-off. But you can write off things like equipment. So if you dedicate one little corner of your house to your office, then you should be able to obviously check all of this with your tax person. You can use that as a tax write-off. If you dedicate some of your cell service to specifically business, or this one's a big one, travel expenses. If you go to your company's convention, that's a tax write-off. All of that education and your meals and your lodging, there's specific criteria, but that's a huge tax write-off. And while in our first company, my husband and I never even broke even. We never ever, despite how hard we worked, we never ever made as much in 1 month as we spent on the products. But we did get a bunch back on our taxes because of things like that. So we got better health as a downstream effect from what we were doing, and it benefited us in taxes. So I guess a couple of things to sum up. Number one, look for products that will support your specific root causes. Figure out your root causes and then figure out the products. Number two, there are some really good network marketing companies. There's also some really bad ones. Do your research, learn about a product, learn about the company, learn the compensation plan. That first company that we were with, I remember one person was super excited because she made a sale and then she never ever got paid any commission because that company made you balance out what you sold and you had to have two sales, one on like either side of your business to balance out and you would get a commission. I remember her being just so sad because she worked so hard. She finally made a sale and then got nothing. So look at the compensation plan and get outside opinions, not just from the company. And the other thing is the money issue. Choose products that you want to use no matter if you make a commission or not. And then share that with others, following the best practices for your company and following the examples and help of whoever is mentoring you in that. And then learn about the tax stuff. Learn how to ethically write off as much as you can, because that's a huge benefit of having a network marketing business. The reality is the dream of a full-time income with network marketing rarely matches up to real life, but there can be some financial benefits. And every single company should have an income disclosure PDF that you can download that shows how quickly different people rose to different ranks and how much the average person makes. Is a very interesting thing to look at if you are considering joining a company either as a customer or as a consultant. Thanks for hanging with me. I did go a little bit long, but I wanted to give you a really balanced view and cover the good and the bad of network marketing because there are some really good tools that can help you with your root causes, your upstream events. And just remember, Hashimoto's, there's nothing out there that cures Hashimoto's because it's an autoimmune condition. Your immune system is attacking your own body. It's often trying to deal with, toxins, deficiencies, other triggers, and the best path forward is always addressing your individual root causes, common sense, solid testing, and supporting your own body's healing process. I would love to continue this conversation. Come over to our school community if you've been burned by an MLM before, or if you're curious about what other people use. I am sure that there are different members of our community who have all used different products and different companies. So come over, let's have a conversation about it. I will see you next week on the Health with Hashimoto's podcast. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Please discuss any changes with your trusted healthcare provider. To take your next step, join our school community and explore the courses available there. You do not have to figure your health out alone. So that is school, SKOOL.com, and it is the Health with Hashimoto's community. I'll see you next time on the Health with Hashimoto's podcast.